How's it going, guys? My name is Graham and welcome to the final batch of Reventure endings. This is covering endings 76 through to 100. These are some of the more complicated endings. I tried to do my best to explain them succinctly, give you the best path and best possible information to quickly wrap things up. This is a long video, so let's get right into it. Rescue the princess, hop over the gap in the bridge, send the elevator down to the bottom, head to the right through the anvil yard, and instead into the dark altar. You'll notice that the first little pillar lights up. You can then use the princess here. The dark energies resonated with Tim and the princess, fusing them together into a sexy dark being. A horde of minions came after, eager to share tons of totally not sexualized fan art. A Waifu is you. Ending 76. 4 days later. A new princess was in town, and another kidnapped one in the Dark Fortress. Every day a new princess is kidnapped. What are all those guard guys doing all day? At which time we can then play Timette, which is all a reference to the Bowsette, Princess Peach weirdo fandom thing that was going on there. Jump your way all the way up the Grown Beanstalk. The Beanstalk is unlocked through ending 72. Just a refresher for anyone, that is taking the princess to the sacrificial altar. You can climb up into the cloud and then climb into this air balloon van. Without thinking twice, Tim boarded that flying machine. There was like 100 angry folks inside, looking at each other with hatred. Then the driver started kicking everyone out through the back door for no apparent reason. Battle Royale, ending 77. An obvious reference to Fortnite. Alternately, you can actually grab the chicken, climb up Macro Mountain, and fly your way across much earlier, maybe if you don't have the beanstalk unlocked. This way's just a little quicker. 2 days later. Most of the passengers died after hitting the ground. Others used their chickens to slow the fall and then went looking for any kind of weapon to kill the remaining survivors. Tim, on the other hand, just went home and hid under his bed until no more shots were heard. After which time the flying bus will be crashed into the tip of the Caves of Legend. Rescue the princess. Basically now we're just running as far west as possible. We're gonna have to take the elevator princess passage to ensure we're then able to skip the Dark Lord. Basically we're running through just trying to avoid any encounters or endings along the way. You can head down through the waterfalls, take the underground, and up through the kingdom sewers. She'll complain about the fact that the place kinda stinks. You can hop out of the sewers into the area of the abandoned bridge, which we can then ride on out to the side here. What are we doing inside a friggin' volcano? Again, the princess doesn't actually weigh anything, so we can take all the highest possible jumps still. All the way off to the side here, down past the quiet hill. I'm pretty sure we left the kingdom behind us. We should turn back now. Instead, ignore her completely, push this button to the mysterious door. Seriously? You traveled all across the kingdom just to use me as a key? At which point we can run out to push another button that raises us up underneath the shop? What are these ropes for? And what's with the creepy music? When you head over to the chair, what looked like a normal shop is in fact the headquarters of a mafia led by the criminal mastermind of the shopkeeper. And Weirdo was his best hitman. With the princess out of game, the kingdom quickly fell into the hands of his savage capitalism. Silver or lead. Ending 78. 3 years later. Weirdo had second thoughts about his past crimes. He decided to do something to redeem himself. Like finding a new adventure. At which point we can play as Tim, but he's dressed up as a gangster. After first acquiring Mr. Hugs, the chickens suffer enough at the hands of the hero of time. With Mr. Hugs in tow, we can pass a hug along to the chicken. Pavlov jumped to hug that cute chicken. Many more came to share their love. Everyone loved each other. Yes, this is the good ending. Enjoy it while it lasts. Ending 79. That same day, Pavlov was finally happy. He had no need to go adventuring. He had achieved the good ending. Why try anything else? That'd be silly. But of course there's plenty more to be found. First off, we want to grab the chicken, head up and over to the very peak. If you have the van, you can jump off of that. continuously holding right, we will land on top of the castle. This allows us to work around the jump limitations we would have otherwise and still take the princess portal. We can head off to the left through the dark elevator, allowing ourselves to fall all the way to the bottom, head off to the right through the anvil yard, and into the dark altar. The far right hand pillar can allow the chicken to be activated. The chicken resonated with the dark powers, turning into a monstrosity that laid bombs instead of eggs. Chicken of Doom, ending 80. A bomb-laying chicken is a reference to the game Bomb Chicken. That same day, the blast sent Tim flying back home. Pretty straightforward. And you play as the burnt-up Tim. Grab the chicken. We can take the princess teleporter to quickly get our way across. Rescue the princess. Jump your way down through the princess escape hatch. You're going to want to head your way to the top. We're going up and over absolutely everything, so just keep heading on over to the right. I missed this in the last episode, but after you get the dark daredevil ending where you throw yourself off the edge, please don't jump off the balcony. We spent weeks cleaning up the rest of the last guy. From the groundskeeper minion, there's now a little fence stopping you from running off, but we can still jump off. With the chicken, we're totally safe. Floating our way down through the dark abyss. Once we've reached the bottom, we can head our way off to the right, starting to raise the big wall in front of us. Once the wall has been completely raised, we run off underneath it. It seems that the princess lied about her real weight. She convinced Tim, but not that huge door, who quickly realized the mistake and left our heroes forever together. Forever together, ending 81. That same day, the wounds of the princess and Tim healed quickly. So quick, in fact, that there was not enough time to separate the bodies. And we now get to play as weirdos, the conjoined Tim and princess. Rescue the princess. When heading off to the side through the door, jump completely clear of the Dark Lord. We're skipping him completely, no need to stop. Through the dark cliff into the waterfall passage. Once we're in the great waterfall and the flooded caves, we can start making our way across. Careful now, that's quite a fall from here and the floor is slippery. At which point you just immediately chuck yourself down into the waterfall. The princess crashed into multiple rocks and died almost instantly. Weirdo was lucky to avoid them and used her dead body as a boat to escape. Perfect crime, ending 82. 4 days later. Hiding the corpse was a good idea. 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 Make your way to the great waterfall through whatever means fits you best. Climb to the very top, hug the wall as you jump on down, and you'll be taken to the Temple of Time. From here, you can grab the Whistle of Time. It allows you to play a nice little tune. When you head out through the dark cliff, there's this little pedestal that you can activate with the flute. Once you've activated this, allow yourself to be killed by this nearby minion. Upon being killed, it simply plays out ending number 3 that we saw way back at the beginning of the game. But we aren't quite done. Unsatisfied with his destiny, Tim used the whistle and went back in time. At which point we then respawn at this little pedestal. Be sure to reactivate it and allow yourself to be killed again. We'll continually play our song and revive at the altar. Be sure to reactivate the altar every time. After the 3rd time of doing this, abusing the powers of the Whistle of Time caused a space-time tear in the fabric of the universe, consuming everything in existence. On the bright side, it also consumed the Dark Lord. We have to go back, Tim. Ending 83, the title being a reference to Back to the Future. That same day, the Space-Time Police came to fix the mess caused in the timeline. You shouldn't mess with the space-time continuum. Just a personal thing, I think it would be funny if you actually went back in time by a day because of that ending. There have been multiple examples in the past where I said it's beneficial to grab the sword because then they'll lower the drawbridge for you and just make certain things easier. This time we can't afford the wait, so we just have to run out and grab the hook claw without the sword. Might get stabbed by a few minions along the way. Collect the hook claw. Using the beanstalk unlocked from ending 72, we can climb ourselves up a ways. Once we have a fair distance, we can hop across out to the left, allowing us to land back at the castle. We're heading all the way west back to the shop so we can hook claw our way up and claim the nuclear warhead. Now with only 2 items, we should be able to jump our ways back up, no problem. Any more than that and this trip will not be possible. We'll then climb down into the Zhu volcano, making our way totally across, bypass the bridge and jump down below, taking the vent leading to the dragon's lair. Continuing to the right of where you will find the dragon, there is a way of accessing the geyser shaft. We can use this to quickly get launched back above. It also conveniently plops us next to the vine, which we'll need once again. Similarly, using it to jump out and across, and once again land on the castle roof. Then using the portal to the princess, climbing our way up with the hook claw. Over to the left, we can access the cannon on top of the dark wall. Harry was loved by everyone in town. He'd served for 40 years, and tomorrow was finally his retirement day. It was a miracle he'd survived that long with so many stupid heroes around the kingdom. Not what you expected. Ending 84. 2 days later. Tim noticed a different look in the guard's expression that morning, at which point the nuclear warhead will be stuck next to this guard. Collect the sword, collect the shovel. I would then recommend digging your way down and out and across, taking this little platform across the lava. Take the geyser all the way up and around, climb your way down the well, keep going right, cross the dark cliff, all the way over to where we can now dig our hole down into the fairy fountain, and jump around and proceed to kill every single fairy. You can't actually jump in water, so you might have to launch yourself out to a few of them, might have to wait for them to come to the edge. But once you've destroyed them all, Weirdo couldn't stand those annoying insects flying around and touching him, so he finished them. He killed them all without blinking. But then he realized they were a bunch of fairies trying to heal his wounds. Whoops! Hey, listen! Ending 85. An obvious reference to Navi there with the hey listen. That same day, Weirdo used the blood of those fairies to summon a demonic town portal back to his home. At which point, immediately next to the house, we can now take a portal out towards the fairy fountain. The fairy fountain itself has a passage, which then puts you out in the pit. So there's a few different ways you might be able to exploit that. Grab the sword, rescue the princess, skip past the Dark Lord and all that, go the way of the flooded caves and the waterfalls. If we go through the cistern and past the Fisherman Lake, through here we can cut our way off to the side. Wait, my castle's not this way, and head our way over to the big hay piles. Tim and the princess decided to relax after the long journey. The relax wouldn't last long. Full house. Ending 86. A little bit of a roll in the hay, and now there seems to be a couple of kids. 9 months later, Tim lived a long life with the princess, until they eventually passed away. When the Dark Lord returned, Tim Jr. was chosen as the new hero of the kingdom. Yes, they chose a kid. The only kid in town. One of 2 ways you can play as Tim Jr. These 3 children now hide around the map in weird, precarious positions. There's one tucked away kind of on the roof in the flooded cave area. One can be found hurling yourself into the dark abyss way out to the east, and another one on the outer cliffs way out west near the pirate area, which I'll be covering very shortly. In order to achieve this ending, we have to kill all 5 of the developers hidden around the map. For every single one of these, always make sure you have the sword. You're going to need it to stab them. Carrying on past the shop, we have the Quiet Hill. Up through the hill is a small hidden area where we find Juan, one of the creators of this world. I'm here just enjoying the views. And of course, you can stab Juan. ascend the mountain. Once we've hopped our way to the top and across, we can kill Miguel. Green Boy palette unlocked. Rescue the princess. During the escape sequence while running out across the tower bridge, you're going to want to come at it from the opposite side and instead hit this passage off to the right, which will take you to the treasure vault. Hi, I'm Javi, one of the creators of this world. I'm here looking for some extra financing. You may stab and kill him. Upwell palette unlocked. Those are 3 that I've already shown off at various points throughout the other episodes of this, but I want to remind people in case they're seeing it for the first time here. And now the other 2 are more hidden. You need to go out of your way to find them. Grab the chicken. We need to make our way out and across to this higher part of the dark cliff. Slowly float your way down and across to one of these platforms. We now need to deftly hop our way all the way to the left. Once we reach this far side, there's a small secret passage where we'll find Alberto in the crunch room. Hi, I'm Alberto, one of the creators of this world. I've been trapped in this game for months. Please show me the way out. And the speediest way is obviously to stab him. Spectre palette unlocked. Further left of that pops you out into the flooded caves. And a quick look at the Spectre palette. It takes away a lot of the lighting effects. Works with a lot of grays and bluey greens. Just another quick look at how that looks in another part of the kingdom beyond the dark world. We're going to need the hook claw to reach the final dev. We're making our way west, back up the cliff towards the Zhu volcano. We can climb down into the volcano, make your way more or less to the bottom here. When we head off to the side, there's the abandoned bridge. If we hook claw our way tightly along the bridge here, there is a secret passage immediately underneath it. When we head further right, there's a small little hop and a door for club access, in which we find the music club, where you can rotate through the different songs of the game's soundtrack. I'm Parejo, one of the creators of this world. Please buy the soundtrack. I need money to buy food and more gramophones. Instead, we can just give him a quick stab. It's alright. The outline palette is unlocked, which looks a little something like this. It's, frankly, pretty hard to tell what exactly is going on. But now we have officially killed the 5 developers. Running out takes us back out through the barn, into the underground. We want to carry on this way out towards the waterfalls. When we first enter them, we can make our way down, and off to the left-hand side is the resting place, where you'll find the gravestones of all of the developers, including what they contributed to the game. When we head all the way to the left, we'll see that this is now all lit up. They'll all start grayed out, lighting up one at a time as you extinguish their souls. We can hop down through the gate of hell, dropping down, down, down. Eventually, we achieve the ending. After killing every game developer he found, Tim went literally to hell. There he was forced to work making video games for eternity as punishment for badly treating our noble indie devs, who were of course resting in exposure heaven. Crunch hell, ending 87. 6 years later. Tim had to work overtime to buy a ticket out of that place, but now he was once again ready for adventure. We now get to play as a little devil demon boy. It's kind of like Nosferatu, but, you know, he's a hero. Chicken, sword, hook claw, bombs. With all 4 of these, we can make our way out and across, continually heading east through any means. The path is pretty well set since we don't have much of a jump left anymore. There's only one way you really can go. Out through the pit, hook clawing our way along. Through a few particularly exhausting jumps, we can access the abyss. All the way out to the dark tower, we can raise this platform. Once across, we make our way into the endless desert. Continually head to the right. Don't mess around with jumping or anything, just keep walking. Note, it's a pretty long walk. It is an endless desert after all. Endless may have been an exaggeration. Hop your way up to this little sign. Tired already? Worry no more. Here's a shortcut. And we can jump on into our little geyser here, rocking us into the desert sky, out of camera bounds. Oh, dropping you back to the beginning of the Endless Desert. That's a little bit of a trick. Don't do that. You have to run it all the way over again. This time when you reach this little outcrop, hop over top of the geyser, allow yourself to drop over to the other side, and continue your journey on. You didn't like this shortcut? Okay, here's more desert for you. More Endless Desert. And again, we're just gonna run it out. Make note, in between these two rocks way out here, there is a soft ground patch. Continue on past that for now. And all the way at the end here, end of Endless Desert. Are you really falling for this twice? Climb on into the geyser. Shoots you on up through the desert sky. Past the pool, you boomerang back. You kind of start doing some fun paper airplane zigzagging through everything, majestically soaring your way through the air until you land up above. Warning, strong winds. And off to the side in the desert vault, when we open the far off chest, you got the My Phone instead of an iPhone. Why would Tim ignore his quest and cross 2,000 miles of desert to be the first to get the latest My Phone model, of course? Such a fanboy. Tim's Odyssey, ending 88. That same day, Tim was at last happy with his new smartphone, until the battery died and he realized there was no way to charge it in his era. Resigned, Tim returned to his house, ready for a new quest. Grab the shovel. You then have to go out and climb your way back up and around again. Slip your way down into the volcano off to the right-hand side, where you can then collect the lava trinket. Once you head back off to the side, we're just dropping our way all the way down, past this little section into the area with the massive lava wall, the chasm. Because we have the lava trinket, we can hop our way down in. It'll spit us back out towards the side, where there's a little pipe that we can then crawl through. Out to the other side, hopping our way along, we find this little canister to the side. It bursts open. That sample of alien symbiotic parasites quickly got inside Tim's body and turned into a black suit. Tim thought that was so cool and quickly ran home to see himself in the mirror. Intestinal parasites, ending 89. That same day, Tim expected to gain some kind of powers from that suit, but the only thing he got was severe alien diarrhea. At least the suit was his size, at which point we get to play in our little black suit, all of this being referential to Venom. First, grab the shield, rescue the princess. As we're running off, we can go whichever way we want. You can go the upper or lower way, doesn't really matter here. And we run out to confront the Dark Lord. Tim Jr. knew he was prepared this time. He took out his hero shield to face the Dark Lord. Powers of the shield repelled the attack and... nope, the shield just split in half. Just look at the size of that sword. What were you thinking, Tim Jr.? Try harder. Ending 90. 7 months later. Tim Jr. wasn't satisfied at all with the quality of the shield, so he went to the provider's website and published a 1-star review. Such a badass hero. Going from a warrior of the realm to a little bit of a keyboard warrior there. Grab the chicken. We're also going to need the hook claw. 2 weapons beyond that are going to be required. I'm going to grab the sword. Provides nice, easy access through here. We now have the hook claw as well. While we're down here, we might as well grab the bombs. This puts us at 4 weapons. Chicken, sword, hook claw, bomb. This is the necessary amount. We can hook claw our way up and above to hit the button to put out the bridge. When crossing the Great Waterfall, we can pop out this bridge for ourselves as well. Don't want to strain those chubby little legs too much. We can cruise our way along the dark cliff, hop our way down along the very bottom through the dark moat, and towards the pit. We can use the hook claw to now Spider-Man our way along the rooftop. Whatever ending it was that I made people chicken jump their way across this in the last episode, I apologize. This is much easier. Head through the dark corridor, and we can just barely hop our way up and out to the abyss. Luckily, Tubby Tim can still jump. Maybe he can work to shave off a few of these pounds here. Beyond the darkest bridge, the collective weight of Tim and his weapons, it doesn't have to be Big Tim, should be enough to fully raise this big smasher. We can then make our way across. I chose to hook claw. I'm not actually sure if it would still trigger. I'm a little scared of that because it took a while to do this ending. So you might as well head our way out to the endless desert. If you simply start hopping around a bunch once you're out here, constantly jumping isn't the smartest way to cross a desert. Tim got tired, collapsed to the ground, and was eaten by scorpions and vultures. Jump around! Ending 91. 4 days later. A wizard resurrected Tim and teleported him back to his house. That's about it. Yes, that's what happened. Writing 100 original and appealing intro texts is not an easy task, you know? I was wondering if there was eventually going to be a meta joke about how difficult a task that must have been. Rescue the princess. Take the lower path that allows you to skip the Dark Lord. Head on out through the waterfalls and the caves and all that jazz. We're trying to make it far enough west to make our way to the dragon. Climbing your way to the top of the waterfall is a pretty good route. Skip the sacrificial altar. We can make our way back across and use the beanstalk as a nice skip for the castle. We're gonna go clear on past all of this. You'll notice if you come down this way that things have been raided, the shovel isn't an option. Instead, we carry on further west, hop our way down into the volcano top. Once inside, we can make our way down and across. Are you sure this is the right way? And we can poke on down to visit the dragon. As the dragon and princess saw each other, they knew they were meant to be together. They slowly approached each other, becoming one through digestion. First date. Ending 92. 2 days later. Tim was arrested for feeding the animals and released days later. He was lucky they didn't find out the kind of food he used. I would recommend stopping to grab the hook claw. We're gonna sneak our way quietly on down so we can access the sealed chamber. Flick the middle switch. On the right hand side we can grab the dark stone. With the hook claw we can hop our way back out of here nice and easily. We have to make our way up to the princess. This is easily the best way to do it. We can take the lower path and make our way over to the elevator. Ignore the mimic and make our way over to the real princess. Once she's been rescued, head whichever way you prefer because we're making our way to the Dark Lord. Come face to face with the Dark Lord with the Dark Stone in hand. The Dark Stone was sealed for a reason, but Tim decided it was a good idea to take it out for a walk. With its power back, the Dark Lord grew 10 times and obliterated the kingdom, in search of a burger large enough to feed his hunger. Dark Delivery Boy. Ending 93. 2 years later. After the incident with the Dark Stone, Tim had to move to another country, which happened to look exactly like the previous one. Such a coincidence. For this one, having the chicken is super useful. Jump out and over from the very top of the caves. Land our way squarely on top of the castle. Take our usual quick skip off to the princess's room. Rescue the princess. Take the Dark Lord skipping route. Be mindful of that little hop walking over into the Great Waterfall area, otherwise it'll drop you down below. When we make our way up and over thing, skip over the sacrificial altar. We're gonna make use of the beanstalk to fly square over top of the castle, heading our way over to our own lovely home. And when we pop inside, Tim and the princess moved to Tim's home. They made a living posting videos of treasure chest unboxings, video game streamings, and yummy recipes. Influencers. Ending 94. 5 months later. Tim gained a few kilograms with all those yummy recipes. For the princess, only appearances mattered, so she eventually dumped him. But without his protection, she was quickly kidnapped. Now we get to play as big fat lard ass Tim here. He's borderline bigger than Rocky even was. If you simply leave yourself floating in the water for a minute or two, Disgusting Creature was capable of holding his breath for more than 10 minutes, but that water was quite cold. Disgusting Creature's body temperature rapidly dropped, and our hero quickly froze to death. Hypothermia, ending 95. That same day, the dragon rescued Hermaninoff out of boredom and moved him home. Every bad guy needs an enemy for his life to have meaning. Oh, did I say Hermaninoff was dead in the last ending? Well, he was almost dead. Just a little blue. After which time you play as the blue corpse, similar to the blue baby ending. Grab the sword. We're gonna climb up and over onto the very rooftop of the shopkeeper's place. Be careful with this one, because we kind of need their corpses. We're trying to chip them across to the far side there. It might be a little easier to kind of go one at a time. Otherwise, they might get away from you. Then you kind of have to restart. You're probably out of luck. It's a little bit easier to get perfect with the 3 minions, but their swords, their little weapons here, actually still interact and have their own physics. So having some of those in the mix can actually do the trick. Propping them up can be kind of difficult. It takes quite a few attempts. I just happen to get really lucky here that they kind of fell up against each other like that. Now once you're off the top, you can jump on down the pirate's cliff. There's no little secret walls along the way. You can just keep zigzagging your way down to the very bottom. Then finally at the right hand side here is one of the gemstones. So whatever it is that you first make it here, you might as well stop and grab this. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later. Now we can head off towards the ocean. Just keep on swimming endlessly west. Take a note from Dory's handbook. Eventually we'll have something off in the distance here. An old abandoned ship with a dead crew. If we jump on down into the ship, we'll see a little bed off to the side here, protected by this wall. Or we can go jump into the big pile of treasure. Tim Jr. found a pirate treasure inside that ship. His smile faded as he noticed a copy of Reventure among the piles of gold. What kind of heartless person could steal a jewel like that? Pirates, ending 96. Poking fun of the fact that games are pretty commonly pirated. 10 years later, Tim left the gold and ran home to play Reventure. With such an amazing amount of content, nobody saw him for years. Today he achieved ending 100 and was finally ready to go outside. And now we have Tim the Pirate. After which time we'll end up with a small little computer in our house. We can't actually interact with it, but this is where Tim would sit and wallow away his hours discovering those 100 endings. Grab the sword, make our way west back to our old pal the shopkeeper. We're his #1 customer. Climb to the top. We need to make our little minion stack again. So make sure you're chipping them across so you can use them effectively. You can then work to bash all 3 of them into a nice convenient tower. It's pretty damn hard to stack them perfectly. Using their weapon might actually be the better way to go about it. It seems to be a little bit more reliable. You might have to fiddle with it a little bit to get it exactly right, but at least there's no harm in just repeatedly trying over and over. Once we're down the cliff and making our way across the ocean, when you reach the ship, rather than climbing down the hatch to the bottom, we can just go ahead and skip it all and jump our way out to the side. We'll just continue to swim our way out west. After a short while, the camera will stop panning, allowing us to continue on to nearly the edge of the screen. Tim kept swimming deeper into the ocean. Nobody knew why. He just kept swimming and swimming and swimming. Eventually he got tired and drowned. He never was the smartest in town. Swimming into the sunset, ending 97. 2 days later, the dolphins, those cute and generous sea creatures, rescued Tim and took him home safely. How did they get there and then back to the sea? I guess we'll never know. At which point we get to play as a little Aquaman. And when we head up by the Jew volcano, we can find a beached dolphin. There's even another dolphin down on the ground here. It's quite the mess of porpoises. You can actually climb the beanstalk up into the cloud. As a quick and easy way to skip a pretty significant part of climbing the mountain, the easiest you can make this for yourself is to come over completely unburdened and make sure you have the bridge lowered. We're now going to have to backtrack a little bit and climb our way up the dark cliff. There's a little bit of a tricky maneuver here. You have to drop off the edge and then jump. You can practice it a little bit on just about any ledge. You just have to go about a half step off the ledge. It doesn't take too much to learn, honestly. And now we can go across to the sealed chamber. Flip that middle switch, jump on up and grab the burger. We're immediately going to be put on the clock, but that's no problem because we've set ourselves up for this. If you're too slow, the burger will expire. You're going to have to reload and try again. It won't be still available in the chest for you. We can just simply run on out to the right, jump our way up and over across the dark cliff, jump over that little pit that will be open because we activated the elevator there. We're running our way off towards the princess, not actually to the princess, only towards her. We'll take the dark elevator up, be prepared to run immediately to the right, up and over the anvil, and towards the fake princess. As soon as you step on the button, the mimic wasn't evil, it was just hungry. The burger Tim brought was all it needed to calm down. Yes, it was finally calmed. But boy, that hero looked incredibly yummy. But you wouldn't need a friend, would you? Would you? Suspension points. Ending 98. Managed to get away without a jump scare on that one. 1 week later. Or weeks. It's just one. Tim was worried about his new pet being hungry again, so he left his house in search of some food and adventures. At which point the mimic actually starts to camp outside the house, which is super adorable. Float your way down the dark cliff over into the sealed chamber, flick the middle switch, and go to the top left to grab the burger. As soon as we have the burger in hand, we're on the clock. The most effective route seems to be heading immediately down to the bottom, off to the left. We're going to start climbing our way to the very top of the Great Waterfall, take those stairs to the right, these platforms up to the side, up and over. Make sure to skip the sacrificial altar, you don't want to lose that delicious burger. Clear your way straight through the risky cliff. The drawbridge will be lowered for you. It's okay if you get hit there, we're just trying to make it to the end. And into the throne room. Nosferatu really worked his ass off to deliver the food to the king in time. Unfortunately, he didn't like a soaking wet burger, and had Nosferatu arrested for not living up to the kingdom's food quality standards. Delivery boy. Ending 99. 5 years later. Nosferatu had to cook for the entire army for years to make up for his mistake. Today he was finally ready to leave the kitchen and return to adventure. And we now get to play as a little chef, Tim. The hint for number 100, become a legend. With 99 other endings complete, we can now attempt ending 100. Throughout this you may have found the 4 different colored gems or orbs. There's red, blue, green, and yellow. You've probably found some of them just randomly exploring. Just as a reminder, the red one is found down when heading your way through the fire cavern. You make your way up to the top right area. You can hop across and grab this red gem. If you take the chicken down to the waterfall, you slowly drift your way to the bottom where you can collect the blue gem. You can always take the geyser out after that. The yellow one we found in this very episode when going out to the west of the map towards the pirate endings. You can take a look at ending 96 specifically if you want a more detailed explanation of how to get there. And now the green one was just very recently teased, but we haven't actually gone there yet ourselves. When we're heading way out into the desert, make sure one of the items that you have with you is the shovel. I believe 4 items is the minimum amount you need to be carrying to weigh enough to depress this pedestal and raise the big block. So the maximum amount of items you can carry and still appropriately jump your way over to this. Out past this little cave area that you can skip, you'll eventually find two very close together rocks. When you stand on top of them, it'll indicate that it's soft ground. Once you dig your way down into there, we can find the final green gem. Make your way down into the dragon's lair and head off to the right, down into the geyser shaft. Skip the geyser, we won't be needing that. We can hop our way up and around, right next to where we would have originally found the red gem, and head out to the right, into the 99 Path store, now fully lit. If you are curious if you've collected all the gems, you can look at that door on the right. You can see here currently I'm still missing the blue gem. Just a quick and easy way for you to check on that. With all gems in place and all 99 endings complete, we can step on this panel, watch our handiwork as we raise the door all the way to the top. Once the door has been completely raised, it will lock into place and we can make our way down. Perseverance and patience yield the ultimate reward. This temple is guarded by the 4 gems that keep nature in balance: earth, water, wind, and fire. At which point we can retrieve the gems that flew away from us every time we collected them. Once we step onto the pedestal, you've got the Tetra Orb. And so Tim gathered all 4 elemental orbs and restored the balance in the kingdom. The end? The end? Sure, I feel completely satisfied with this ending. No way, I want more action. Now this is the legit final end here. There are a few different ways that this ending can branch. I'm going to go for it, show you one particular way. One thing I was actually kind of unprepared for is the amount of post-game content here. So yes, this will cover the full 100 endings and one version of this action ending, but there is actually more you can do in this game, and I will show that in its own video. When you claim you want more action and climb on down, then a platform will rise up from underneath you, and the 4 gems will be activated, circling Tim and slotting into the roof above, opening up a pillar of light that then begins to raise Tim up. You can see pieces of armor surrounding him and a giant sword, all of which come together in a dazzling display. Our mighty hero then reaches out for his sword, along with the 4 gems. Tim is now Super Tim. At which point we get to play as this huge badass who can swing the sword like a maniac. We are now just completely unstoppable. We get the joy of just bashing our way through the game, just breaking anything and everything, swimming across the lava. Dragon? Fuck the dragon. I ride the dragon. We soar our way on out. He throws us in front of a giant plume of lava, riding up through the pirate's cliff. We see a minion drop a nuclear warhead off to the side there, and atop the quiet hill. After escaping the eruption, Tim thanked Dragon for the trip and prepared to finish him. Then we can kill the dragon. Continuing onwards and outwards, smashing our way down through the shop. When we smash our way in, I am tired of being continuously stabbed and robbed. I'm taking all my stuff and leaving this kingdom for once. The shopkeeper, so we don't actually get to finish him off. We can rampage our way up and over. We're too big to fit our way through, so we have to jump across the top here. Drop in on the Elder. It's sexy and dangerous to be in your current form. At which point we smash him to bits, jump out off of the cliff, smash your old dumb house, who needed it anyways, tear it all down, smash our way into the castle, bash our way through. This is not the hero I ordered. I want an immediate refund. Instead, we shall crush it. Oh god, that card's a little startled. We knocked down the vine. Well, a vine was too big. thanks for taking it down. Climbing our way on up for quick access. We can go up and over. After leaving for once the place that saw him grow up, Tim looked into the horizon and knew what to do. Go to the east into the darkness. Gather even more power. Why me? Scale the mountain. Run our way out into the trinket trial. Pretty damn easy to push the button. Don't really need the trinket when we're immune to lava. It takes us into a room with the Tetra chamber. We can easily open the door with our Tetra powers and go to the pedestal, activating yet another altar. This one opens another door for us. We are returned the gems. Beyond this, in here we find a minion. This isn't even my final form. A minion who has the dark stone. The darkest stone chamber with a giant ass minion inside and a bunch of health. Luckily, we're totally invulnerable. You cannot actually screw this up. You might as well work on dodging the attacks to make things a little easier on yourself, even if you are immune. Upon killing this giant minion, we can chop him to bits the extra last bit of the way and acquire the dark stone. At which point, we can grab it up and go full Thanos. After defeating that super minion, Tim knew what had to be done. Take that stone and absorb its power. Epic music, reserved for collecting 5 stones, kicks in. With the power of all in hand, Super Tim is now the Dark Lord? We run out across the cliff, out into the dark world. Your darkness, the bridge has been lowered for you. At which point, we've reached the location where Tim has repeatedly arrived, the princess making her usual quip. We automatically just decimate Tim, and it's our choice whether or not we chop the princess. What have you done? My dress is all messed up. Yeah, a bit more than that's messed up now. Sorry about that. We can ride the elevator up to the top, feeling full Darth Vader-y. Every time a hero visits us, I have to repair the damn bridge and clean up the mess all around the castle. The maintenance minion we've heard from a couple times. Might as well smash him. Bash our way through the fake area, through the real holding cell. Who needs any of it? Past the princess's dumb room and into our own. When Tim approached the piano, he felt the urge to sit and play well, sit and play amazingly well, sit and play legendarily well. Since then, Tim would be known as the Dark Lord. With the power of the orbs and the dark stone, the world soon kneeled before him. The princess. A new groundskeeper minion would need to be hired to clean the mess the princess became. Chicken. Chicken returned to its nest to continue working on his world domination plans. I'm sure he would be shifty-eyeing if he could. Red eyes, that works just as well. The minions. The minions stole the dragon's treasure and spent it all in burger. I'm sure it means on burgers. Boulder and Dragon. Dragon never made it to its blind date. Poor Boulder. The devs. The devs were kicked out of heaven for making gore video games. The king and his guard. There was not much of the kingdom left. Seems the Dark Lord did his homework in advance. The mimic eating one of the guards. Heroes. But new heroes will keep coming to challenge the Dark Lord and restore the peace? And that's Reventure, the story of how a common villager endured countless hazards over like hundreds of years, and fates to become the Dark Lord, ruler of all mankind, and a magnificent piano player. The end. Ending 100. Rounding out our gallery nicely. 2 weeks later, 1.68% of people made it this far. Year 114, day 180, Tim became the Dark Lord and left his house abandoned. The new tenant dreamed about following his legendary steps. That is all 100 endings, but there's actually a little bit more to this game. There's now a sign out front. Congratulations, you are now a legend. Join us on Discord and show a king role owner proof that you conquered the Dark Tower to unlock a secret reward. That's a little bit of a tease. The Dark Tower, we haven't seen that at all. There is post-game content here. I'm going to cover it in a separate video. I've shown a number of little secrets and asides and references and things throughout these 4 episodes, so I'm not going to retread that. I'm going to try and make that fresh and new and exciting for people. It's not going to be a top priority for me, but I'll try to put it together within reason. Hey, I hope that these episodes were useful for some of you, and entertaining for anyone else who wasn't actively trying to use them as a walkthrough. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you again soon for one last outing.